This is the 5 tech things that you should know about episode number 55. This is the 5 tech things you should know about episode number 61. This is your 5 tech things you should know about episode number 63. This is the 5 tech things you should know about episode number 68. This is the 5 tech things you should know about episode number 73. This is your 5 tech things you should know about episode number 75. We've got all the iPad action and a whole lot more. Brought to you by Mozy.com. Hey everybody, welcome to the 5 tech things you should know about for all you weekend warriors in tech that don't want too much information overload. Here is your 5 tech things you should know about this week. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it's the iPad 2 and it's better than the iPad 1. No, really, it is. They got a lot of great stuff on the iPad 2. I'm very excited about what they came out with. Steve Jobs came out and said, hey, we've got this newer, thinner, leaner, meaner, fighting machiner iPad 2, which is pretty cool. It's 1.3 pounds instead of 1.5 pounds, the old version of the iPad. It's a little bit thinner, and it's got a front-facing camera, it's got a rear-facing camera, it's got all the cool stuff that you need to turn your iPad into a big phone. You know, like those old TV shows where the guy holds the big phone and goes, I can't hear you! Anyway, no, actually what it does is it does a lot more. It becomes a full communication device. Let's start with the processor. They came out with what's called the A5 processor, which is a dual-core processor. The iPad had an A4 processor, which is Apple's proprietary processor inside the iPad. The A5 processor, since it's a dual-core, two processors on the same die, it runs the same amount of power. So the battery life on your iPad is pretty much the same as it is with the original iPad, which is great. It also has the front-facing camera, rear-facing camera, so you can do the FaceTime. Of course, the front-facing camera is a lower resolution, it's a VGA resolution, as opposed to the back-facing camera, which is only a 5-megapixel camera from what I read. But it does do 720p in video, so you can actually use it to shoot video and then turn around and edit it in whatever you need to. It's going to have the top speaker, so you can actually hook up, I believe, a microphone to it. But it's also got that dock system, which now you can get a special dock cable that'll hook it up to a projector, that'll hook it up to a TV, so you can run presentations straight from your iPad. And this is the functionality that really makes this the traveling businessman's tool, is the iPad 2. The A5 processor is running at 1 gigahertz, dual core to 1 gigahertz. I was hoping that would be a little bit faster than that, so we'll see a little bit of time. Maybe by the next version of the iPad, we'll have a really good dual core processor. But for the applications that it runs, it's going to do pretty much okay on that. Of course, you'll have all the regular games, so on and so forth. The new version is i4.3, the new OS version, iOS 4.3, so you'll be able to download that soon. March 11th is the magic date. March 11th, the magic date. You cannot pre-order them now. That's the day you can pre-order. That's the day you can go to the Apple Store. That's the day you can go over to Verizon, which they now have. You can get yourself a 16 gigabyte model, a 32 gigabyte model, or a 64 gigabyte model. Good job, Apple, with that. Of course, they have the 3G models as well. I'm surprised that they didn't try a 4G or an LTE 4G, but I guess that wasn't in the cards just yet. If you're in the United States, you'll be able to get it on March 11th. If you're outside the United States, sorry, you're going to have to wait a little bit longer, but that seems to always be the case there. So, big event. They also updated GarageBand. They also updated Photo Booth for the iPad, so you can now use it, and of course the FaceTime, all the other cool stuff. So go get yourself an iPad 2. I'm seriously thinking about doing it myself, but you know, if you want to get me your iPad 2 or an iPad 2, I would accept it right there. So just let me know over at geekazine@gmail.com. Of course, the other big news is people are ditching their iPads for getting ready for iPad 2. And that new processor and that new speed and that new everything. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully this A5 processor has been properly tested, because Apple doesn't really talk about their testing procedures. I really have to wonder, when you have an Apple processor that hasn't been tested out in the wild that we know of, and how that really works there. So we'll see what happens, and we'll keep you abreast on the whole iPad 2 situation. But in the meantime, you can start waiting in line right now for an Apple iPad 2. All right, enough about the Apple stuff. Let's talk a little bit about Google. Google decided, hey, 150,000 people, you're very special. We're just going to lose your account. Actually, there was a little bug over at Google and the Gmail, and Google turned around and said, well, that's only 0.02 of all the email accounts. And I'm thinking, wow, that gives me a warm, fuzzy feeling on the deep cockles and the subcockles of my heart. Because I'm one of the 150,000 people that's very special. Maybe I get a home game, some rice-a-roni, the San Francisco treat. Its flavor can't be beat. No, I wasn't one of the email accounts that did get that did lose everything. But if I did, I have it all backed up. There's a lot of great ways you can back up your email. So if Google decides, hey, you're part of the 0.02, congratulations, thanks for playing this game, then you've got all your email backed up. You can use any type of POP3 email client. I use Thunderbird myself, and I back up once a week of all my email, and I have to, because I can't lose any of these email addresses. I can't lose any of this contact information. Some of it's going to be legal, which I would have to then turn around, and if I ever had to take somebody to court, I would use this email in my defense. So there's a lot of reasons why I back up my email to another client and then back it up and make sure I have all these copies on there. And if you are using your Gmail account for business, you should be doing it too. Even if you have a business Gmail account, you should think about backing that up, putting that onto a storage device on site. So you can't go wrong, and if you never use it, big deal. You have it, and that's the important thing. There's a big eye on my computer. The video actually was from CES a few years ago. Andy Brown took a picture of a company called Big C, which had microscopes, and he put it right up in his eye. It's pretty cool. But anyway, what we're talking about is a company called Tobii, T-O-B-I-I, and they're partnering with Lenovo for a new type of software that all you have to do is take a look at your laptop, you look at the laptop, and you focus on something like, I want to open up this program, and there it is, it's open. Yeah, it's eye tracking software where it tracks where the eye is going. And there's a lot of software out there that's doing that nowadays. In fact, we interviewed somebody at CES that was doing some eye tracking software, which was pretty cool. But Lenovo now wants to put it into your laptops. So when you look on there and you say, hey, I want to open up my Gmail, you can stand back here and look really, really cool and go, right there. Jedi mind trick. And there it is, and it's open. I wouldn't expect the technology to be out of the box ready in this first version, but within time, I wouldn't be surprised if all of a sudden you're foregoing the mouse just to look at a program to open it up, or maybe move a program around, or maybe do something else. Maybe it's a blink on, blink off, blink on, blink off, the blinker. It could happen. Could very much happen. We'll see. All right, the newest segment over at the 5 things that you should know. The top 5 things I learned this week, so let's get into that. Number 5, Charlie Sheen found a great way to get out of his successful show contract. A lot of people are losing their jobs, and Charlie Sheen has this great job, saying, I don't want it anymore. Let's talk bad about the company. Number 4, Steve Jobs is still alive. Yay! Number 3, messing up the lyrics from the Star Spangled Banner can be an indication that a downfall is going to happen in your career. Number 2, people are debating that the only way that a Dumb and Dumber sequel will work is if Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels star in it. Well, newsflash, ladies and gentlemen, they already did a sequel, maybe a prequel, and Carrey and Daniels was not involved. And the number 1 thing that I learned this week, no matter what they say, Bob Hope is still alive! Yay! Bob Hope, if you'd like to come over, from the Oscars, I know that's a more prominent show. But if you want to come over to the 5 Tech Things and do the 5 Tech Things you should know about, please come over. Let me know, geekazine@gmail.com, and we'll have you on the next episode. If you're an Android owner, listen up, because this is very important. Over 30 apps, and I know that they're pulling off more apps as we speak, applications in the store have been found to have malware in them. Basically, these are applications. These are anything from a calculator application to a sexy girls application. Everything has this little piece of malware that basically takes your contacts, your information, and takes it over to a server. So somebody's phishing your system. This is the malware systems that we talk about. This is the stuff that could happen on a PC. This is the stuff that could happen on a Mac. This is the stuff that could happen on an iPhone, an Android, anything. This is what you have to protect yourself on. This is what you have to be concerned about. Right now, if you're downloading any applications, if you've got an Android phone, if you don't trust the application, there are some applications you should be able to trust, like the Facebook application. But if it says Facebook with an E at the end, don't trust that. And of course, you might want to lay off on downloading applications for the next few days until they can get this figured out, because they're still pulling applications from there. Now, there's a full list of all the applications that have pulled. We will check it, and we'll put that in the show notes so you know where to look if you've got an Android phone and you've got those specific applications. So if you're an Android owner, you might want to not download any applications for the next few days until they can get this whole thing figured out. Like I said, folks, it's your life online. You need to back it up out now, back it up often, back it up off-site. We had 2 articles and the reasons why you should be backing stuff up. Remember that code GEEK, that gets you 10% off that already low price. And Mozy.com is now announced some new cool features over at Mozy.com. iPhone and Android applications that you can now check your files and see what you have on your Mozy account. And the ability to transfer files from one machine to another, which is going to be a great advantage to moving files and backing up all your files and getting them from your desktop to your laptop to your iPad to whatever. And that's all over at Mozy.com. Prices start at $5.99 a month for 50 gigabytes, or if you want to try it for free, you can get 2 gigabytes for absolutely free. Of course, if you use that code GEEK, that's going to get you an additional 10% off that already low price. 10% off that low price over at Mozy.com. So back up now, back up often, back up off-site with Mozy.com. All right, finally, this is, you see this picture and you're going, oh, it just looks like a couple white spots. It kind of looks weird. Here's the big picture all together. This guy, his name is Rob Bullen, and basically he was looking through his telescope and he said, hey, that looks like a satellite, and hey, that looks like the space shuttle. Ooh, cool. Let me go get my camera. So he gets himself a digital camera, but not a really, nothing fancy, no big DSLR type camera. Just a regular camera that you would get at Walmart or something like that. And he took a picture. The telescope is about 20 years old. The camera, not that expensive, not that high resolution. And he ends up with this picture. Isn't that interesting? There's a lot of cool things we can do with optics and stuff like that. So I'm always interested to see that. In fact, at CES, the last CES, we interviewed a company called Celestron, which were making higher-end telescopes, which were pretty cool. But if you could go down to the store and get yourself a $20 telescope, and you take out your digital camera, maybe I could take out the Kodak and the video camera and do some video of the space shuttle out in the middle of space, just doing its thing, putting along. That'd be kind of cool. I'd put that up on Geekazine. I'm a little bit of a space enthusiast myself, so it's always cool to actually see these types of pictures. But this is not high tech, folks. This is low tech. Just a regular telescope from, like I said, 20 years ago, and a camera. So you got yourself a picture of the space shuttle next to a satellite. Awesome, huh? And that is your 5 tech things you should know about. This is actually take number 2 for me because I kind of forgot to turn on the main mixer. No sound, so you just heard me go. Put your piano music to that. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching. Thanks a lot for being here for the 5 tech things you should know about. We'll be here next week with another 5 tech things you should know. And until then, my name is Jeffrey Powers. Go over to Geekazine.com and check out everything over there, including the new show called The OTT. Thanks a lot and take care. They came out with what's called the